Hello and welcome to Trinity Episcopal Church as we regather for worship in our beautiful historic nave. This video is going to introduce to you some of the changes you will find when you come to church. The first is that at the beginning and before the service, we will have the doors open, so you will be able to enter very freely through the two doors and up the railings. If you bring your little hand sanitizer along with you, and we have hand sanitizer we'll show you in a minute, you can sanitize your hands if you need to use the rail as you come up and down. Once you get inside the church, as you will see, we have things set up in a different way. We're going to ask you always, when you come inside the doors, to wear your mask. I will be wearing a mask the entire time. If you forget to bring your mask or don't have a mask, we will provide one for you. But this is one of the directives we must follow as we regather. As you come in the doors of the church, you will be met by a greeter, your usher, who will first put some hand sanitizer in your hand to sanitize your hands, and then by an usher who will give you one of our paper bulletins that will be a one-use only bulletin. And as you see here, we have a box of masks. So if you forget one or don't have one, one will be given to you. You'll also find as you come in that other things have changed. So if you come with me for a minute, let's take a look down the aisle. The first thing you might notice is these blue strips of tape on the floor. They are set in 6 feet distances for you as you come in. Your usher will show you to a pew, and we ask you to keep the social distancing of the 6 feet. We've also marked off the pews. You'll notice that there are strips of yarn so that every other pew is now marked off. Physical distancing is important as we regather for worship. And there's a trick to it that we'd like you to learn. The trick is that not only do we want you to space every other pew, but we want you to use the advantage of the distance away. So for instance, if a person is sitting here on the aisle, the person in front of them might sit on the side aisle. Or if you come in and someone is sitting here, you might choose to sit up here, either on the aisle or on the side aisle. That way we're as far apart as we can be within this beautiful and spacious place. It doesn't mean that we're apart in any way, shape, or form in the feelings in our hearts. You can wave to your friends and say hello across the distance that we might be from each other. But it does mean that we're simply being one more way of being safe, one more way of keeping that distance that's so important to make sure that all of us can come to church and leave church, knowing that we've done all in our power to keep our friends safe. If you notice in the bulletin, we have published our hymns and our entire liturgy, but there will be no congregational singing. It's unfortunate, I know. I'm a musician and I love to sing, but singing also can be kind of dangerous in time of COVID because we spread a lot of the things from our mouths when we sing. But we put the hymns in there anyway because the words to the hymns are so meaningful. And Cody, our faithful organizer, will be playing with all his might up in the balcony so you can follow the words as he plays the melodies for the music that's in the bulletin. The other thing we want to remind you about social distancing is that there is going to be no greeting of anybody else except those in your household. No fist bumps, no elbow bumps, friendly waves, a friendly hello across the way is fine. We want people to keep that physical distance from one another and keep your mask on at all times. Anyone who's been in this church before will notice something is missing. Our hymnals, prayer books, and Bibles have been removed from both the racks and from the pews themselves. If you own a Book of Common Prayer, you may certainly bring it. Or if you have the Book of Common Prayer on your tablet, you can bring your electronic tablet. There is now plenty of wireless to run your tablet during the service. But we will not be using any handheld books. As I said before, the entire liturgy is printed in the bulletin for you to follow and then for you to take home with you at the end of the service. Some of you may wonder about your offering. We won't be passing the offering plates. As you see, the offering plate is here on a stand at the very front of the area where the pews are. So when you come up for communion, you can place your offering in the basin, and after the service is over, the ushers will collect that offering and make sure that it is safely taken to the sacristy to be counted later in the week. We will be able to have Holy Communion, but it's going to look and feel differently than we've done it before. Rather than coming up to the altar rail, I will be giving communion here on the steps. You will be able to come forward, stand on the blue tape line that is marked on the floor at a distance. I have a mask. The person receiving communion has the mask. They open their hands, and I'll drop a wafer into their hands. And then you can lift your mask and take the communion and move back to your pew as the next person then comes forward to stand on the tape and receive communion. Those of you who are members of Trinity know that this is our back doorway that leads to the hallway and the parish hall and the bathrooms. During COVID, the bathrooms are open for your use, and in each bathroom there is disinfectant for you to spray the various surfaces before and after you use them. We also have some hand sanitizer here by the door, so as you come back in to worship, you can use the hand sanitizer as well. Now, unfortunately, we cannot host any fellowship. There will be no nursery and no Sunday school. Those kinds of gatherings will have to wait until a bit later, until we have a vaccine and ways to gather that are much safer for us. So that is unfortunate. But you can always wave to your friends at a distance and say hello and exchange greetings in a safe and secure manner. As you've been going out and about, you may have noticed that most drinking fountains are now restricted for use, and we've restricted our drinking fountain for use. So you may want to bring a bottle of water with you if you tend to get thirsty during the service. We do ask that you not bring any other beverages, such as anything that might be sticky or might spill, but a bottle of water would be perfectly acceptable for you to bring with you to use during the service. We also ask that during the service that you stay in one place, that you stay in your pew, in your place for the entire service. It's important, again, that we keep that physical distancing from one another. We're very glad to report that our airflow within the nave is very good, that there's a good air exchange that's going on, and because of our tall ceiling, we're pretty much as safe inside our nave as we would be outside, which is why we are coming in to worship here in our church. We are thankful for all of you who've been so faithful watching us online, and we are so glad that at this time we'll be able to announce that we can regather, even in a limited fashion. Even with the limitations of masks and no singing, we can still see each other, and because of our new audiovisual system, we will be able to worship together in our homes, here at church, all at one time, gathering as God's people. So if you have any questions or thoughts or issues about the regathering process, please see the website, call one of the vestry members, call Phil Steptoe, call me. Any of us are very, very happy to answer any questions you might have. And if you show any symptoms of any kind of cough or illness or anything, please don't come. We know that you want to be here with us, but we want to keep everyone safe. And that really is up to each one of us to covenant with one another, to be that community of love and faith that watches out for the more vulnerable members of our community. So once again, welcome to Trinity's Regathering Plan.